after the high arc of a volley brings the tennis club into the afternoon. The match's steady plop, plop, plop against all this nothing as the afternoon defies another review. Instead, someplace else a hand is stroked. Someplace else a last breath sounds, easing softly into the afternoon. Another simultaneity in the ongoing telling. I remember looking at his still features, waiting for one last breath, even after everyone else had left the bedroom. A chance to say goodbye one last time. And instead, in time, name the gaps. Call them Kim, or Bob, or Bertie, or Alan, or Harold. On back past June, past Max, past Donald, past Jerry, all the way to Julia, a first. A rip off a Pen Sound front page in June 2010. Andrei Voznesensky, Leslie Scalapino, Peter Orlovsky, all gone. Dead poets equal dead Rusky, dead wife, dead fag. Someplace else, Zizic finds a passage in Neruda where he describes his raping the Sri Lankan beauty who empties his shit bucket and meditates on the intersection of religion and excrement. Someplace else, someone says, let's give Jesus a cell phone. Let's give the disciples a cell phone. The Last Supper, a series of selfies where you never see Judas's face. Or there's a picture of a plate of bread and a carafe of house red as the great meal that night. I'm not even going to talk about Twitter. Or how about a Facebook account? Jesus on Facebook. Jesus has one friend. There's a clip of the cleansing of the temple. The money changers get 600 or more likes. Jesus has one friend. A video of the loaves and fishes. Fishwick sales explode at McDonald's. Jesus has one friend. Somebody downloads a shot of Jesus getting ready for the prom. Jesus has two friends. There's a selfie of Jesus and his date from a limousine. Jesus has 9 friends. Jesus has 78 friends. Sales of the Apocrypha explode and go to number 3,462 on Amazon sales list. Jesus has 9 million friends. The Vatican puts up a channel on YouTube. They're so proud.
Bonnie did well. Bonnie did well. Yeah.
Our emptinesses are littered with so many distractions. Rocks turned out while tilling the gardens must be addressed, and tiny cairns accumulate across the yard. Around the 118-mile marker on 84 southbound, a stone foundation, or maybe what's left of a stone building, caught at the edge of vision. Turn your head for a glimpse of a mass of vines littered with dead leaves, a stretch of stone wall running south and gone as Linda moves out into the passing lane. Rows of crows staggered across the sky towards roosts someplace south and west of you, and all the while you long for a camera, waiting to just miss the moment at hand. This takes too long, I'm not going to read this.
That the longer the better, my hopefully. Just the night.
I read this in October. Well, I read this in October at the Flame Dog. I don't know who was, if anybody was there to hear it that night. It was one of those small nights. I think Dan, you might have been there.
I'll take your word for
Okay,
it.
this is a sequence that I wrote when Bill was in the hospital right after his stroke.
So it was a decade ago.
More.
Like 10 years.
10 years and 5 months.
It was called On Track,
Oh, yeah.
which is a musical piece.
Interlude
It's an interlude
acts,
between two
between
acts
the two.
in a play. Renee Char and Satie, Renee Char, no, not Renee Char, Renee Claire made a
Claire.
movie called On Track.
Which is a great.
And Satie wrote a
Claire
beautiful
wrote
piece
this.
of music for the soundtrack. And this is about that transition from one state to the other. On Track. Did you hear about the kid who died in the paper today? Kid? Overheard Epic Man. One of the problems of being a liar, or maybe that's understanding that you're a liar, is appreciating the inherent dishonesty of the written word, the honest word, and trying to deal with an event that has an impact on your world. Okay, on my world, that moment of true feeling, as Peter Hanke described it, and there I go, writing like a fucking critic, trying to legitimize my words as I invoke another's. Written last night, August 26th, after a wave of anxiety swept me out of bed to find a piece of paper and a pen. Does he smoke? Does he want a religious person? As I process these questions, I realize that Bill is away and I don't know when he'll be back. The first time I visit Bill alone, he is asleep. The room is a collection of sounds, unlike the waiting room, which is a collection of voices, friends' voices. The air recycling, the rhythms of machines aiding breathing, the monitors at the nurse's station beeping, the hum of a video screen, Bill's regular breathing as he sleeps. I stop writing when he opens his eyes. His head lolls away, then toward me. His eyes focus. He recognizes me and smiles. Hi, Bill. We begin. Days later and out of reach, I watch you sleep again. And days later, when she watches me come and go from your room, a nurse will tell me it's okay to wake you, but this feels wrong, and I know I will always let you sleep. But for now, back in the waiting room, I copy the following from the cover of the magnetic poetry kit that Sarah brought for you to talk with us. Dad is our ecstatic poet. He storms across America with an immense anatomy of sound. And I alone lived to tell the tale. Is your right foot twitching, or is it just the blanket tugged tight across your girth as you sleep? The easy rhythm of your snoring drifting towards a silence that vanishes as you inhale loudly, and the cycle begins again. A hard day, and there, a soft moan, an articulated sigh. What are you dreaming? Hiking with the kids, walking in Paris. Your quiet now is across the hall. The news goes to commercial, and your left hand explores your right hand, then rubs the top of your head, your jaw, scratch. You remind me of my father napping during ball games as he sprawled across the living room on weekend afternoons in 1965. You wake up and sit up, smile at me as we listen to Glass's North Star, the saddest music in the world tonight. You nod and wave your left hand in time to the music as you try to tell me something from wherever you are. Against your breathing, the roll of a cart, and across the hall rises a wondrous drone, the extraordinary power of prayer, and then an old, unnameable song from childhood that gives way to a recorded samba or a mambo maybe by the cloud reservoir. Jazz musicians gather by the cloud reservoir. As your pain passes, we play music for airports as cars traverse the sunflowers beyond your windows. The closed system slowly unfolding as you nod off while we talk. A gentle snore rises out of your breathing, and outside, something hisses like a balloon. Little victories observed. The bathroom is labeled. Crossing the room, you're awake. Sitting up, you reach for my hand, and the lines stop. Another beautiful morning to avoid. I try to lose myself in a Belleville mystery, only to end up sweeping the mudroom floor and sneezing up resettling dust, and then a cloud slips into the small patch of sky bordered by the doorframe and by the curve of the leaves of the rusting red maple across the street, the patch of blue where I might, as they say, make a deal with God and get him to swap our places. Outside your window, the two sunflowers still stand like sentinels for walkers in the dusk. You watch me write that pointless sentence, then stare at the wall, your breathing in time to the throb of the rest of the floor. If I start to write, you might wake up. Until then, it's Eno again. The simple ebb and flow of a piano line against the steady saw of your snore. Something I suddenly recall from the weekend we shared Brian Johnson's living room when you performed at Real Artways in Hartford a lifetime ago. Even further away now, before all this, or knowing the return will be so different, to know how to read the charts and like Monk perform a kind of magic, just to have you here again, berating me for having put you on center stage like this, snoring away as the synth drone swells and as you settle into a briefer, calmer rhythm. There's nothing here, just me filling these pages with these empty carrying lines of loss and sadness and longing. It terrifies me to think you might never read these lines, even if I read them to you one day. Picture a record of this past together, of this road back we travel together, telling stories of this tiny private world, but what of the unrecorded dreams, the unwritten poems? Night falls into the room, and across the hall a slice of TV screen glows through the edge of a drawn curtain. Your breath rattles on occasion, drowning out the murmur of voices from the nurse's station. And I'm hoping I can't decipher tonight's scratches, even if they're all I have to show for this visit. Going south, away from your world, away from your new world, drifting from lane to lane as I write, thinking about a distance that isn't there. The fog sits in valleys, squeezing trees into the hillsides. Sumac glows red at the side of the road, and later, as the landscape spreads out, the fog turns back into clouds and rain, and I stop to stretch my legs and write this the way you'd stop to light a camel.